Hi everyone, my name is Dominic. I'm Angular Love contributor, and today in our studio we host Aristeidis.
Hello, Dominic. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, did I pronounce it correctly? Aristeidis?
Yeah, you pronounce it just great, but for people that are not native Greek, they can call me Aris if they want, because it's much shorter and easier to pronounce it.
Okay, so Aristeidis is Google developer expert and author of Angular books. So one of which is right behind me, and we would like to discuss a new version of Angular, Angular 18. So I have a few questions for you. So the first one is, what is your most awaited feature that is on Angular roadmap?
Just want to mention that Angular 18 is very near. I think it will be released this week. If it is not a matter of 1 or 2 days, it's a matter of hours. And the most awaited feature that I would really love to see is the zoneless applications. Zoneless applications is a really innovative feature because it actually improves the loading and the runtime performance of an application.
Mhm.
Because traditionally, zoneless applications in Angular are using a library called Zone.js. And there are some disadvantages with this library. The first one is that it downloads about 30 kilobytes of JavaScript code into the client. The second one is that this library actually monkey patches some browser events. And when it monkey patches these events, it actually runs change detection inside your Angular application. But because of this monkey patching, Angular change detection may run more often than needed. So this affects performance. So in Angular 18, we will see an experimental version of zoneless applications that will remove this dependency, and it will improve the runtime and loading performance of Angular applications and the core web vitals.
Yeah, that's correct. So there's also an announcement that Angular is going to be merging with Wiz, and Wiz essentially is Google's internal framework for building high-performance applications. So I want to know, what do you think that we can get from this fusion? What are the core benefits? What are the core aspects?
Right. So Angular and Wiz are collaborating so that each one can take the best parts from each framework, right? So it's not that one takes over the other, but instead they collaborate and they combine the best parts. For example, Wiz is already benefiting from the Signals API by integrating them into YouTube Mobile right now. So I think 100% YouTube Mobile uses Angular Signals to manage the application state. From the part of Angular, it will benefit from the hydration improvements that we will see. Wiz has a library which is called Event Dispatch, which actually replaces events in the client as soon as the client becomes active. Because when you're developing an SSR application and you are doing hydration, initially the client is not interactive. So you may click buttons or select areas in your browser, but it's not interactive yet. So with this library captures these events and replays them at the end when your application becomes active. And actually, Wiz is not going to be open source. It is an internal framework that is used in Google, but some of its parts will become open source through the Angular library, through the Angular framework. Sorry.
Yeah, so it feels like we'll get so much improvement when it comes to the performance. So yeah, there's so much new amazing stuff. So how do you feel? How important is it to stay up to date with the latest changes of Angular?
Yeah, each major version of the Angular framework brings many new features when related with modern web standards, best practices with web development, and many security features and fixes. So developers should be should be up to date, developers and their applications, so that they can benefit from these changes and develop high performant, scalable, and secure web applications.
Mm-hmm. Is it worth updating the Angular versions if your project is a few major versions beyond the LTS?
Right. Angular follows a specific deprecation policy when it comes to which features will be deprecated. Okay, and they say that this policy is two major versions behind. So if you can be two versions before, then that's okay. The best will be to be in the latest version. But if you can't, being on two versions behind, 1 year, for example, it's okay. But if you are more than two versions, if you are more than two versions, then you should consider start upgrading your application, because you will get all these modern web standards that we already mentioned, security fixes that may integrate into the framework in the latest releases, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct. So you can summarize that Angular is getting better, the performance is getting better, the developer experience is getting better. So how do you feel? How did you convince developers to learn Angular? Do you have any tips for them?
Right now we are in the middle of an era which is called the Angular Renaissance, right? It's known as Angular Renaissance. So it's a great time to be an Angular developer, because you can be confident that your web applications will be up to date with the latest web standards and will be secure. Also, Angular is backed by Google. It's a small team inside Google that maintains it, along with the rest of the community. The community is also huge. I mean, I think that more than 2 million developers worldwide, I think so. I think this is the number, use Angular. And also, one other advantage about Angular framework is that it is currently used inside Google in more than 3,500 projects. So when the Angular team releases a version, we as developers can be confident that this version has been battle tested in these 3,500 projects inside Google.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So use Angular.
Absolutely.
All right. So Aristeidis, thank you for this conversation. And make sure to check Aristeidis' books. And also make sure to follow us on our social media.